a roll call, please.
Smith.
Here.
Clute.
Here.
Craig.
Here.
Harvey.
Here.
Mayor Robish.
Present. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Moving on to the agenda approval, I am going to add to our departmental items tonight an update from our Finance and Revenue Commissioner, Rich Bragg. That's the only addition I have, unless there's something else.
Move to approve the agenda with the addition.
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Smith.
Aye.
Clute.
Aye.
Craig.
Aye.
Harvey.
Aye.
Mayor Robish.
Aye. Moving on to public forum. Public forum is limited to a maximum of 3 minutes per person. Please state your name and address for the record. Anyone in the audience for public forum? Seeing none, Commissioner Smith has something for us.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Over the past week was our first official season for snow alerts to be issued, and one was issued Saturday evening or Sunday morning, as it may be, at noon, or midnight, excuse me. And with last week being the start of snow and inclement weather season, I'm reminding the citizens that when a snow alert is issued, the core area is completed first, starting from midnight to 8 a.m. That's typically the start time of when that happens, midnight. After the core area is completed in the downtown area, then they move to the residential areas, and north-south streets will be cleared on odd number days, east-west on even days, so east even. I guess how I try to remember it. Just a reminder, no parking is allowed during the snow alert until the snow is cleared from curb to curb on that street. Also, in addition, sidewalks need to be cleared within 48 hours after any snowfall, and snow cannot be placed in the right-of-way or in the street except in the core area, which it is pushed in the middle of the street and picked up with the snow machine. This past week's snow event started with rain and ice on Tuesday, and it just kind of continued throughout the weekend, and it was a bit of a challenge with it being the first snow alert that we had. I know, talked to Bob Simpson today throughout. A lot of salt and sand went down on the streets. The salt and sand trucks were out throughout, along with trying to keep the streets cleared. And we understand that there were intersections that were pretty hazardous. I believe Bob checked in with the police. There was 4 reported accidents related to the weather. And just want to remind everybody to slow down on these deals. I too have to anticipate coming to an intersection and not being able to stop. So just asking for the city's grace on this, and we'll get through it, and should be better as we move along. We've always had a well-run machine when it comes to snow removal, and I don't anticipate this is going to be a exceptional year for that. So just wanted to pass that along. Thank you.
You bet. Thanks for all the reminders there, and that's the best part about living where we do. There's different seasons, and it takes the first one to get used to it.
Get used to it, yeah. One other thing, complete information on snow alert declarations can be found on the HuronSD.gov website. So if you want further clarification on that and the ordinances in relation to that, you can go to HuronSD.gov. So thank you.
You bet. Thank you. Moving on to consent agenda. Matters appearing on the consent agenda are expected to be non-controversial and will be acted upon by the commission at one time without discussion unless a member of the commission requests an opportunity to address any given item. Items removed from the consent agenda will be discussed at the beginning of the formal items. Tonight, our consent agenda consists of 4.1 minutes of November 24th, 2025, 4.2, personnel items. Number 1, acknowledge the full-time status of Cody Campbell, water sewer maintenance uncertified, for completing his 1,040-hour probationary period, making him eligible for supplemental benefits. And number 2, approve the part-time employment of Brian Reff, Lane Cooper, and Tucker Light as volunteer firefighters, with each serving their respective 90-day probationary period. 4.3, fuel quotes for city departments, and 4.4, payments of the bills.
Motion to approve. Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Smith.
Aye.
Clute.
Aye.
Bragg.
Aye.
Harvey.
Aye.
Mayor Robish.
Aye. Moving on to bid quote items, consider pay request number 2 from Vanderpool Dragline Incorporated for bid number 2025-24, Jersey Avenue drainage improvements in the amount of $114,795.48. Tonight we have with us City Engineer Brett Runge.
All right, thank you, Mayor. This is the project down there along the James River to the north of the railroad bridge. Basically, it's just a progress payment. We are, well, about 93% complete with the project. There's one segment of the project that we haven't been able to complete. We're waiting for railroad approval for right of entry. Even though that railroad is up, suspended up on the bridge above, to get into the right-of-way below, we still need approval for right of entry. So that was submitted back in July, and it's just been a lengthy, long process. Our intent is, once that approval comes, which we're expecting this week, we just had some breakthrough on some of that, I guess. Once that approval comes, we'll probably look at doing cold weather concrete. It's only about a 20-foot segment to finish it. Otherwise, it's going to be a maintenance nightmare all winter, having a little gravel section there to finish. So, but it's something we'll look at. But anyways, this is a progress payment, but we do have more to come possibly yet this winter. Unfortunately, it was just held up by the railroad
Sure.
permitting process. So we recommend approval of payment.
Okay.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any other questions for Mr. Runge? Yes.
I have something, Mayor. I want to compliment the engineering and the contractors that worked on that area. It's a big improvement for drainage down in that area. And then you couple that with the bridge improvement and the new trail out to our solid waste. It's cleaned it up a lot and improved that whole area. So good job on that stuff.
Okay. Roll call vote, please.
Smith.
Aye.
Clute.
Aye.
Bragg.
Aye.
Harvey.
Aye.
Mayor Robish.
Aye. Moving on to 5.2, consider change order number 3 from Century LLC for bid number 2023-21, solid waste transfer station facility project in the amount of $8,683.51, and authorize the mayor to sign. Again, Brett Runge.
All right, Mayor. So this is a change order on the solid waste transfer station, basically to replace the stormwater manhole lid and the pump installation that was previously done on the project. What is with the original installation, we were unable to remove the stormwater pump clean through the top of the opening. That was both a design flaw and an installation flaw. So this is a change order to fix that. Since it was a design flaw, the consultant, Burns and McDonnell, they're covering the cost of materials. And since there was installation issues there, the contractor did the installation on without additional fees. And then the city worked together to get it done by, we used our excavator to help lift and lower the manhole lid in place so they didn't have to bring separate equipment on site. So all parties worked together on this to make this come together. There is, in order to process this, it's going to be a positive change order to the project because the contractor's paying for the materials. The city will then be reimbursed that amount through the design fee or through the construction admin fee from the consultant Burns and Mac. So in the end, it's a net no-cost change to the city besides the little bit of time we spent helping with it.
Sure.
We recommend approval of this change order.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
Second?
Any other questions for him? Roll call vote, please.
Smith,
Aye.
Clute,
Aye.
Bragg,
Aye.
Harvey.
Aye.
Mayor Robish.
Aye. Moving on to petitions and communications, 6.1, consider renewing the joint funding agreement with U.S. Geological Survey for the stream gauging station on the James River and authorize the mayor to sign. Pauline has some information on this. This is the Redfield Station.
It is, yep. Yep, and we have a new contact. Normally, we would do this in October, September, October. But we have a new contact, and it got lost in their retirements. Same as always, the agreement has increased 2.5%, so it's about $40 a year for our portion. That's an increase, and we split that with USGS. And we recommend approval.
Okay, thank you.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any questions for Pauline on this? Roll call vote, please.
Smith,
Aye.
Clute,
Aye.
Bragg,
Aye.
Harvey.
Aye.
Mayor Robish.
Aye. Moving on to 7.1, ordinances and resolutions. Consider rate resolution number 2025-09. And again, I will turn this over to the finance director, Pauline Carey.
Thank you, Mayor. And I know that we're like one ahead of the rates study recommendation, but those rates are included in the resolution. I'm just going to quick go through the changes. Solid waste, like our budget suggested, we went up 5%. That's for all of our garbage collection and our dumpsters. That gets you to, there was some suggested changes into our larger size documents. Sometimes we have to send those out. Increase there. We increased the marriage ceremony to $100. And then a title search fee. The finance office has always done a fee, or excuse me, title searches for the city assessments or nuisance or things like that with properties for their closings. And we're finally putting, we actually have always done this, we're just putting it in the resolution for now. It was $5, we're upping it to $10. It's been $5 for over 20 years. The planning and zoning fees, you can see through some ordinance changes. The signing rector license come out. They're looking at increasing the plat fees. And then one of the things Barry is suggesting for planning is the tax increment financing fee. The actual application fee go up to $5,000 instead of $1,000 to cover all the hours of work and the paperwork necessary. And then also in talking to other cities, $1,000 per year fee that could be added on. Doesn't have to be done, but the city could take that on as an admin fee for managing the TIF as we go through the years. So that would be a new change. Let's see, we get to section 12, restricted use. Again, these are 5% increases under the solid waste department. The street department and equipment fees, traffic. Again, those are increased based on talking to other towns and what their fees are. And then these fees are the fees, we don't really rent out our equipment, but we do use these fees for like FEMA. When we have an emergency or anything we bill out, these are the fees we use for that. So we're just comparing and getting comparable rates now with other towns. So you can see those changes. Wastewater and sewer rates, you can see those are all based on the rate study. That's all recommended and changed in here. One thing I want to note, last year, was it last year or the year before, we took out the residential trunk line fees? But we did not on the residential, and that was specific, or excuse me, in the commercial. That was specific in the motion. So I added the trunk line fees back in there for commercials. And then that's just a rate that we add $5 every year. So this next year will go from $60 to $65. Let's see, library had a couple, they were deleting some hotspot. And then we have a new section with some of the ordinance changes again this year with the door-to-door and commercial vendor sales. And then the flood damage prevention ordinance that we had done this year through the planning office for that permit. That's really not a lot of changes. Most of them are pretty simple. If you have questions, let me know, otherwise we ask for approval on that.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second?
Any questions, thoughts for Pauline or anybody else?
Oh, and you had said on that, the proposed
change to the TIF, that was consistent with what other cities were doing.
Yes. Yes, that's done the research on that. The other thing, I know it's not on there, but we've talked about it. I've done some research now, is that video lottery, talking about doing the video lottery per machine. That comes with an ordinance change. So I'll probably be bringing that soon too, so that can be effective with the beer licenses in June. Be $50 a machine. I just haven't done the research to see and get out to the beer license owners to let them know this was happening, and I kind of want to be proactive on it, not reactive.
When does that start?
We could have been doing it a long time. It's $50 per video lottery machine. We just want to be,
Just haven't.
we have not done it. We're the only first-class city that does
Yeah.
not charge this.
I see.
So, we're the last one. So it is something we're going to look at, or I'll bring to you.
Okay. Any other questions? Roll call vote, please.
Smith.
Aye.
Booth.
Aye.
Bragg.
Aye.
Harvey.
Aye.
Mayor Robish.
Aye. Moving on to departmental items, consider acceptance of the water and sewer rate study updated by Banner Associates and approve the recommendations provided by the study for water and sewer rates. Mr. Runge, you want to open this up? We discussed this last week a little bit.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. So this is the water and sewer rate study update that Banner provided that presentation on last week. Just to kind of a little quick reminder, the recommendations that came from that study was option 2 for the water rates. And basically what option 2 did was it removed a project that was scheduled for 2028, a water main project to kind of help lower those fees, if you recall. And then it increased, and I added in your packet, it increased rates for cost of living adjustments and anticipated increases to purchase water from Mid-Dakota, and maintain cash reserves at no less than 50% of operating levels during the study period, and it reached 75% by the end of the period, and it generated positive end-of-year cash net income during the study period. It also exceeded our coverage ratio like we needed to. The cost of increase there, so on the usage rate for water was about a 3.5% increase across the board for usage rate. And the increase for the monthly rate for the meter charges was 2 to 3% for the up to the 3-inch meters, and then when you got to the 4-inch to 8-inch meters, we were a little low on that. So it's a 10% increase as the years go on. This is expanded out for 5 years, and we could talk about specific rates if you wanted to, but that's in the packet there. So just kind of jarring your memory of what that discussion was. And if you looked at option 1, the water usage rate would increase by 5.5%. So we held that down by removing that project, and instead the usage rate was only increasing by 3.5%. And then for sewer, they recommended option number 2, and what that basically did, it maintained cash reserves of no less than 15% during the study period. We could only reach 69% by the end of that period. Didn't quite make our 75% goal, but it was close enough. We didn't want to bump them up anymore than we needed to. It generated positive year-end cash at the end of the study and exceeded the coverage ratio requirements during the study period. Basically here, the big changes on the usage rate, the sewer usage rate, we made the increases on that versus the monthly charge. So the people that use the sewer are paying for it versus maybe those single family or residences, right? That don't use as much water, So the usage rate was increasing by 11.5% to 12.4%. The usage rate is increasing, whereas the monthly charge is only increasing by 2.5% to 3.5%. So it put most of the priority on that usage rate there is what that did.
The minimum customer charge is actually going down.
In the minimum, correct, yes. Actually, that first year, the minimum customer charge will go down that first year. Yep, actually. There's some more, like I said, the rates are in there. Danny kind of went through them. I don't know how much time you want me to spend on this. But there was also the updates to the surcharge fees. We actually reduced BOD and total suspended solid surcharge fees in the end for this next 5-year period. It's more focused on collection system improvements and not so much treatment improvements, which also kind of affects some of that. And our wastewater improvements that occurred in the end came in at a lower price than at a lower cost than what we expected on the last study. So.
That, any other questions for Mr. Lundy, I guess one question I was gonna ask you is, by taking that project, water main project out, this last year, we did more than what we expected, right? Or was that just mill and overlay?
So what we're currently on the water main is a little goofy right now. We did 3 years of projects in one bid because we received the ARPA funding.
Right.
That kind of promoted that, right, and paid a big percentage of those jobs, right? So yes, we did end up doing more water main this year than anticipated. That was basically on the contractor's schedule. So there's only gonna be one segment left of water main to do next spring.
Yeah.
But that was a 3-year project that kind of hit us all at once, right? Taking that water main project out that we're talking about in 2028, it just kind of backs everything up another year, right? Like we're on a mission to replace the cast iron pipe that's in our water system. We're on a mission to replace the AC pipe that's in the distribution system. It just extends that out, that it's going to take longer to get there, right? It's not like those are total deal breakers for us. It's just good maintenance, good policy to move that direction instead of all of a sudden waiting and we have these huge projects hitting us all at once. We're just taking little bites of it out of it every year.
Yeah. Well, and that's, we have luxury to offset that by taking on more at one time when we took advantage of that. So,
Right.
it's good. Okay. Thank you for the update. I guess we need to take action on this tonight. Oh,
Yeah, we need a motion.
Motion
Yep.
to accept the water sewer rate study recommendations. Option 2. Second.
okay. Any other questions before we take the vote? Roll call vote, please.
Smith,
Aye.
Clute,
Aye.
Bragg,
Aye.
Harvey.
Aye.
Mayor Robish.
Aye. Okay, and then we have, I've asked Commissioner Bragg to update us on his department liaison duties, and he is the Finance and Revenue Commissioner.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, I'm following along. I'll try and follow a similar format to commissioners that have done this already. As the mayor said, I am the Finance and Revenue Commissioner this year, and as the name implies, the primary department that I work with is finance, but I do also oversee the airport, Parks and Rec, Lake and Riverfront, as well as the municipal golf courses. So starting first with finance, finance is an interesting department because we have to pay for everything. So in a manner of speaking, they're involved in basically every project that we do, and Pauline and her team do an exceptional job. We're known around the state for being excellent with the management of our funds. We just went through tonight all of our fees, and we've done a great job keeping pace with inflation and some of the things to make sure that the revenue coming in matches some of the expenses that we're having to incur. Obviously, the employees love that they take care of payroll and do a phenomenal job there, but all the accounts payable and revenue, and again, we have an incredible team. We're blessed to have such talented people, and they do an excellent job. It's one of those things that when finance is going well, you kind of don't know, you don't think about it. And believe me, if we didn't have the team we have, and it wasn't going well, we'd be talking about it all the time. Fortunately, because of the job they do, it runs pretty darn smoothly. Also involved with that, of course, is the overall budget process that we're all involved in. And then throughout the year, the capital assets, as we have projects that come up outside of budget period. I do serve on that team with a bunch of other folks to review those. Moving into Parks and Rec, a little bit more for updates to give there. Chad Schroeder does a great job with his team as well, maintaining all of our facilities, but we do have a few projects coming up, talking about recent things that we have done or things that we will be doing. Splash Central has had a lot of work recently. We just did a lot of work during this off-season. We found an underground leak that has been plaguing us for several years. We were finally able to identify and get that solved. We also did repaint pretty much all of the play surfaces, and we also resurfaced the large Master Blaster slide, which was something that was needing to do, as that park's been open for over 10 years now, I think. So there's just some maintenance there, but we stayed on top of that to keep that as a crown jewel for our city. We have talked here, this group, we budgeted for the Memorial Ballpark renovations, and that is still going on. The engineering department is getting all of our bid quotes ready to move forward and get some of the costs finalized on that. But as this group has approved, we will be demolishing the existing Memorial Ballpark at the top of the hill, and then rebuilding a new player development center, concession stand, storm shelter, and a team facility there. So that will be exciting. That's a very prominent area of the city, and a lot of people are passionate about that area and know it well with all of its history. And we're excited this next year to be able to bring that forward, modernize it, and make some improvements that the baseball team needs. But again, that is a community facility that doesn't just serve the baseball team. It is something that gets utilized by other groups, and it is really kind of the doorstep, you know, especially when you're coming in on that side of town. It is in a lot of ways the identity for our community, and so having a really top-notch facility there will be a good feather in our cap for the city of Huron to see the projects that we're doing. Also, the newspaper just recently had an article about the public meetings we had regarding the Stony Run nature area and Gibbs Park. Many folks know that Gibbs Park is an area that the city has owned that parkland for 30, 40 years, I think, and there's been a sign there that probably is in need of replacing because it's old enough now that says future home of Gibbs Park. And so finally, after many, many years, we're getting the future is now, and we're actually moving forward. So we had, at this point, all we've done is again, this group authorized us to hire the SDSU students in their architecture program to do landscape architecture, to do some proposed plans. Those were really just fun concepts, but what that did is it allowed us to have a public meeting with a lot of the stakeholders, neighbors that live in that area, and other folks that are passionate about outdoor wellness. We continue to hear how important it is that we have walking trails and biking trails and nature area. That's something that a lot of other first-class cities in the state have that we've been lacking. And so with the land that we purchased last year that will connect that trail into our existing walking and biking paths, now Gibbs Park and the new Stony Run area will allow us to continue the walking and biking trails all the way from Ravine Lake through the entire town and now out into to utilize this area. So we believe it will be a great enhancement. We did have a chance for the local neighbors and some of the folks near there to hear about some of what we've done, and we've given them an opportunity to give some feedback. And we do want to make sure, obviously, anytime you do new development, much like 10 years ago when we redeveloped the Splash Central area, there was concerns from some of the neighbors. As it turned out, that's been a great project, and they're all very thrilled with what is there versus the old abandoned college. And we believe this will be the same case. When it's all said and done, I think the neighbors will really love and appreciate that area. But in the meantime, right now, we're getting feedback to make sure that everybody feels comfortable with what we're doing, and to make sure that any dollars that we spend are done in the best way to be what folks are looking for, because there is a lot of demand for that outdoor wellness, and we want to make sure that that facility is a good fit there. So we will be having further meetings on that for more public input. What we did this first round kind of allowed us to take the big ideas and start to boil it down into something a little bit more tangible, and that we can get out there with more specific ideas of what we'll be doing. Looking out at the golf course, I should say, before I move on from that, also part of that would be lakes and riverfront. And you may have noticed next to Crown Park, we did complete the fishing node there. There used to be a wooden fishing bridge that went out next to Crown Park, and that had become unstable. And so working with Game Fish and Parks, they did complete that before the weather turned, and they did a new concept that they're doing, which is a rock pod. So if you go out there and look at it, it is a natural collection of stones rather than being a built structure. And so the advantage to that is that it will last longer with less maintenance, be more natural along the waterfront. And we are one of the first in the state that has had one of these, so we're excited. And that again was paid for entirely by Game Fish and Parks, so there was no cost to the city of Huron. We're just now responsible for the ongoing maintenance and upkeep, but we believe that will be pretty minimal because it's a natural rock pile construction. Moving on to the golf courses, just a couple of updates there. We have for many years been needing to do some work on the bridge over hole number 10. That has become, we've had to continue to try to find ways to keep it safe as the banks and the shoreline there has eroded. And so now we do have a plan. Again, the engineering department has been working with us on that. There will be an entire new bridge structure and all new concrete work, so that will be completely redone and safe. And that will be completed next year. The main bathroom in the center of the golf course received a series of upgrades this year. Some new door work so that those doors close properly, new lighting in there. The walls were redone, and then the floors were all redone with a cool epoxy floor. So those really are much cleaner and brighter and feel very, very nice. We've continued to add more cart paths in this next year. When weather allows, we will do more concrete paths for some of the paths that get a little bit muddy. And we continue to manage all the general maintenance of adding more trees and keeping the grass healthy out there. So things continue to be strong this year again. For I don't know how many years in a row, our revenue there was up, the number of users was up, and so that continues to be a popular feature for the city of Huron, and we're excited that the golf continues to grow in popularity. And then finally, the airport. Not a lot of updates there, other than I think if, we of course don't have daily air service and haven't for many years, but I think people would be surprised at the amount of traffic that does come through that airport still, especially around hunting season. There's been a lot of really big jets coming in to take advantage of hunting, and so we're very fortunate with the new fixed-based operator out there. They've done a lot of things to bring more activity in. From the city perspective, our main efforts out there have really been to work with the city attorney, and we're continuing to update leases and get everything modernized and current, because there were some of the leases, those are often very long-term leases, so they're not something that come up very often to make updates. And so we're kind of in a cycle right now where we're updating quite a few of those and modernizing them. And then the other thing is the buildings. We do own quite a few buildings out there that are leased out, and there were some of those that were in need of some maintenance, so we've been doing some projects to redo some roofs, redo some doors, do other maintenance, and that will continue to be our projects moving forward. We want to make sure that we keep the assets that we have. We're very fortunate to have the size runway that we have and the amount of space that we have for a community our size. We're very, very lucky. We have a real asset out there, and as we're continuing to try to find ways to bring more revenue and more activity in for the city, but part of that is we do have to maintain those facilities and keep them in good shape, and so we continue to make improvements there to make sure that buildings are not deteriorating and everything's in top-notch shape. So that would be my report, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Any questions, comments on anything? Thank you, and Commissioner Clute is on the phone with us tonight, so get geared up, you're next.
I'm working on it right now.
Oh, okay. Well, having completed the business